All right, welcome. So today's video is staying present during exercise. So this video is all about the importance of presence when it comes to exercise. A lot of people will tend to distract themselves from the workout, from the discomfort, from the pain, versus becoming fully present within it and learning to be okay with the discomfort. Now, a lot of people want to listen to music. A lot of people want to do this or that. A lot of people scroll on their phones between sets. I don't believe in any of this. I believe that exercise should be done with full presence and full focus, with zero distractions whatsoever. So this is a video covering why I think it's so important, and then how to utilize meditation within exercise in order to optimize for more presence and more focus. How deep presence and awareness improves training and recovery. So when we are training, when we are working out, a lot of people want to distract their mind from the discomfort and just keep pushing through, or going through the motions rather. This is going to be least effective for growth if you're in the gym for gains, if you are in a sport for skill acquisition. If you are training mindlessly, then you can't really expect the results you're looking for, because your brain and the intention behind working out in the first place isn't actually fully there, right? So your mind is the intention setter, right? Your mind tells your body what it's doing and why. So when you are not mindful of each repetition, if you are not mindful of the exercise itself, your mind is not setting that intention, and it's not initiating as much effort, I guess you could say, into the exercise. So when you aren't putting in the real effort, right, because you are mindlessness, you're just going through the motions, you can't expect real gains, right? Because of the fact that you're not putting in maximum effort. Your body only, let's talk about the gym and muscle growth. Your muscles only grow when they are fatigued. If you aren't putting in full effort, they aren't really going to fatigue to the level of muscle gain, right? So we want to understand that having this mindless approach to exercise is actually going to heavily reduce the amount of progress that we're able to make within that workout, as well as having more awareness, having deep awareness within our body, within our minds, within the actual actions that we are taking in that moment in time. With this awareness, we can actually increase the amount of growth experienced within that muscle, because there is an intention from the mind, and then there's conscious awareness of the muscle, which is going to help you to make more gains. If we get into like the actual fundamentals of how that operates and how that works, consciousness itself is healing. Consciousness itself is recharging. Consciousness itself is the very unit by which we break down and rebuild anything within our body, anything within our life outside, is through awareness and consciousness. So having awareness helps you to break down the muscle, or break down the parts of the muscles that may be lacking and weak, and build back up faster. Awareness in your muscles also helps to improve and increase or decrease rather recovery time, so you can actually recover better and faster through a combination of breath and awareness within the muscles. And awareness is also going to help you to output the most energy from each specific muscle fiber. So when we are mindless, we can't expect full effort, we can't expect full energy going into the task at hand. Whereas when we are mindful, we can drive more energy through the workout, through each muscle fiber, and actually result in more gains after the fact. So how meditation makes you a better athlete. Meditation is a very powerful technique for mindfulness and for mental health, as well as presence. So meditation is a very powerful technique, but not a lot of people talk about its implications for athletes, right? Athletes who meditate more are more present. They're able to access a flow state easier, and in some cases on command. Kobe Bryant actually did practice meditation. Same with Michael Jordan. Practiced meditation. They practiced presence. They practiced mindfulness. And they learned the fundamentals of a flow state, and then learned to utilize flow state to their advantage. So flow state is the optimal state for performance. If we can learn to enter flow state on command, we can perform to the best of our capacity at all times, right? Flow state isn't something we constantly sustain, right? It is something we enter and exit as needed, right? For those who can do it on command. And then if you can't do it on command, it's just something that you enter when the right environmental factors are in place. So if you want to begin to be able to repeatedly enter flow state as needed, you need to be practicing meditation. Meditation will help you to be more present and more aware. Therefore, your mind and your body will stop conflicting, and therefore there are less delays, there are less mistakes as a result. And so you're able to, as in the name, you're able to flow through the motions of whatever it is. If you're playing basketball, right, you're able to flow through the dribbling, you're able to react to your opponent without too much stress or strain. And therefore, you're able to, in most cases, move faster or more accurately than your opponent. And your shots are more accurate. If we're talking about snowboarding, right, there's no more there's no more mental noise or mental interruptions. And so you're able to do a trick without blocking yourself, without thinking too much about it. And therefore, you can have an effortless takeoff and an effortless landing, even when you're 50 feet in the air going 50 miles an hour. So meditation is going to be an advantage for athletes, as well as it makes it significantly easier for you if you are working out and training to do so without music or without distractions, right? You no longer need to turn to your phone to distract yourself from the discomfort of the workout, and you can recenter yourself and focus on your breath, focus on muscle recovery, focus on your body, and actually growing your body's capacity. So bringing presence into your training and recovery. The first step here, the first important thing to focus on is conscious practice versus repetition. Conscious practice is when, yes, we are still doing repetitions, but we are doing so with deep intention. We are fully aware of each movement, each mistake, each area of improvement, and the next time we do it, we intentionally improve upon those areas of improvement that we've identified. We intentionally make sure we do a little bit better than the last time. Versus just repetition, when we just go through the motions over and over and over again, expecting some kind of result. You want to be doing conscious training, conscious practice, right? And so what this looks like is when you are engaged in practice, it doesn't matter if it's a skill you've done 1,000 times over and that you've perfected. You still do it with full effort, full attention, full awareness, as if it is the most difficult skill you're practicing. So if soccer was the example, let's say you are shooting within the box, you should be using the same amount of intentionality and effort. Obviously, you're not going to kick it as hard, but you're using the same amount of intentionality. You're using the same amount of focus and effort and energy as when you're shooting outside of the box, right? So you want to have the same amount of focus for the easy skills, the practice skills, as when you're working on the more complex skills. If we're talking about snowboarding, you should be doing your 360s the same way you do your 1800s, right? With the same amount of intentionality, at least, with the same amount of awareness, right? So we are bringing conscious attention into our practice, and therefore we're not just doing repetitions. We're actually performing. We're actually being more creative through the exercise, through the training, which can help to increase the amount of growth we experience. Now, the next thing is using meditation for recovery. So when let's say we're lifting weights and we have a muscle that gets sore, what we want to do is we want to actually bring our awareness into the muscle and help to alleviate some of that tension, some of that soreness, some of that pain, start to move some of that energy. And with more awareness, the pain signal is more immediately received to the brain, and then we can start to recover faster. We speed up the process by bringing awareness to the process, and then obviously as a result we can recover a little bit faster. But also whenever we're doing any form of training, in the moment, in the training session, so not just after is very important as well, but during the training session, in between reps, in between sets or in between reps, depending on if it's a sport or in the gym, we are bringing our awareness into our bodies. Instead of being stuck in the mind, instead of going on our phones, instead of listening to music, we remove all of these distractions and we bring our awareness and our presence into the body, and we meditate on it. We meditate on maybe the pain and discomfort. We meditate on where our energy is at, how much we have. We meditate on where our mind is at. If there's strain, we identify that strain. And then we can actually start to alleviate some of the things that begin to fatigue us faster, because a buildup of tension is going to cause you to fatigue faster. But if you become aware of this tension before you fatigue, you can start to release some of that tension and therefore sustain your effort a little bit longer, right? And you can do this with many different things, right? Tension is one example. Your mind may actually be starting to become cynical about what you're doing, right? About what you're working at. And so if your mind becomes cynical, you will slowly start to give in less effort. So when you meditate on it, you become aware of this cynical mind or whatever it is blocking you or starting to create more resistance in the training session. You can actually address it through a simple meditation, right? And this isn't like sitting down breath meditation. It's just bringing our awareness into our bodies instead of distracting ourselves. So the next thing and last thing is removing distractions and bringing deeper awareness. So yes, we want to be present when we train, but then over time, we want to remove different distractions that may be blocking us and then bring deeper awareness into our sessions. If you are listening to music and that music becomes a distraction, right? You're feeling into the music instead of feeling into the workout, you might want to remove the music. And I notice this a lot. A lot of people will scroll in between sets. Another thing that is a major distraction that you should look to remove. And the more of these distractions you remove and the more focus and presence and intention you can bring into your workout in that moment, the more progress you'll be able to make, right? So as you remove distractions, you replace these distractions, not with other distractions, but with deeper awareness, deeper presence into this moment, into the specific workout. And this can go as far as anything, really. Like, it applies to fitness just as much as it applies to business and deep work, right? We want to remove distractions when we're focused on doing some form of deep work, right? We don't want any distractions. We don't listen to music in the background. We don't, scroll on our phones randomly in between the work bout or in the middle of the work bout. We are always actively removing these distractions and keeping everything out of our field that can pull us away from what we're focusing on. In my case, it's the video. And workouts, exercise, and training should be viewed just the same as deep work. It is deep work. It's just physical deep work, not psychological or mental deep work. So we view it the same, and therefore we remove all distractions from the workout and keep ourselves focused. One thing that I like to do, and that has helped me, is if you're thinking about what exercise to do next, that's a major distraction, huge distraction. You should have a workout plan set. And what I do is I use Notion in order to basically track my workouts. So if I make a new workout plan, let's say I have it for 12 weeks. This is my 12-week workout plan from now until probably be July-ish or August, something like that. If I was to make one right now, I go out and I date every single workout from now until August, and I put the workout plan in there, and all I have to do is log my weight and reps every single day. So it's all dated out, everything is set. So all I have to do is show up to the gym, click on that date and that workout, and then I can fill in the workout. And what this does is it keeps me focused on the specific exercises I'm doing in order, and I'm not kind of scattered thinking about, what should I do here? When should I do this? I got to do that. And if you're somebody who gets distracted by being in an environment with a lot of people, this is something that has helped me, is I have this basically focus on just get through each rep. Every time I write down my reps and my weight, it's like, okay, now start the next, And it's like you're slowly just working through filling out the page instead of being kind of all over the place, being scattered. And this kind of helps me to focus in. If somebody talks to me randomly during the day while I'm at the gym, have a good conversation, I'm back to it. My brain can be scattered at times, so I just look at the page, I see where I'm at, and I continue from there. And that just helps to keep me focused and give me a center point to focus onto when I do become distracted. So that is all I have for this video. If you guys did enjoy, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. You can also comment down below anything you may have learned, any value you may have extracted from the video. If you watched this far, go ahead and summarize the video or leave to me your key points, what you took away. And then if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can go ahead and click the link to my Instagram and just send me a DM over there, and we will talk. I help people to use holistic self-improvement to optimize their lifestyles for the most possible growth and progress. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and click that link, send me a DM. If not, totally fine. Hope you guys did enjoy. And that is all from me, and I'm out of here. Peace.